6:16 p.m. All right, and we'll start first with our roll call. 1 second, please. So if you're online, please get ready to unmute and announce your presence. We'll go to the list. All right, Clinton Paris, Craig Fox here, Connie Burton, Noreen Copeland Miller, Ebony DaCosta, Cynthia Donnell, Tony Gaines, Dr. Grace Glenn, Kimberly Hedlund, Eileen Henderson,
Here.
Dr. Jeffrey Johnson, Frankie Jones,
Here.
Carlos De La Osa,
Present.
Fran Tate,
Present.
Diane Ziegler.
Present.
I will next we'll move on to public comments. If anybody, and we'll start with in person and then go online to see if anybody's online. Oh, sorry, and you have 3 minutes for your comments. Thank you.
It's live. Allison Hewitt, resident and business owner of East Tampa CRA. As we are moving forward with this new upcoming fiscal year and with the new grants, you will be presented a lot of information regarding projects and budget impact. I would like to encourage that we are able to get the information out to the community. We used to have very active committees, and we still have people in the community who would like to give their opinion, like to be able to be prepared, though, because if we see it on the agenda, we're talking off the cuff. We've not been able to research. We've not been able to look up information. We've not been able to talk to our neighbors to provide you with adequate feedback. And so if the agendas are not available ahead of time for the public to be able to see, if public comments can maybe be put at the end. So that way, when you are presented the information, then the public could make some comments about what the information is. Because right now we would just see it on the agenda, not know what it is. And so we wouldn't be speaking intelligently. We'd just be speaking from emotion or reaction from what's on the title of the agenda. Because most times when we get the information, we don't have the background documents that you're provided. And as a third generation resident, as a more than 25 years economic development specialist, I would like to be able to offer my opinion and my thoughts in a way that I can say is backed with research and backed with documentation, backed with a statute, backed with a policy, and not just say, I see this and this is my opinion. I want to be able to say to you, I see this and research says, and maybe provide you with some documentation. So I go online and I see the announcement for the meeting, but I don't ever see the agenda. I don't see the agenda until I walk in, and technically not when I walk in. So I'm guessing of what you're going to talk about. So if we can probably maybe consider reintroducing the community back into this conversation, because we have very limited time here in East Tampa CRA, and you guys are about to get a lot of projects brought before you. And we want to have a thoughtful conversation and not a conversation just based on what we see as a title on the agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. Does anybody else in person have comment that wish to wait? All right. Seeing none, go online. I don't think we have anybody on. Okay. We'll now move on to action items. The first action item is the approval of the October 3rd, 2023 minutes, the October 3rd, 2023 minutes, and also the July 2nd, 2024 minutes. So they are both in your agenda, and also they were mailed out by Mr. McCrae. Does anybody have any changes they would like to make to the? No hands in person, online.
I'd like to move that we approve the minutes or we approve them separately or together?
We can do them together.
Okay,
Honestly.
I'll make the motion that we approve the minutes from the two previous meetings. That's October 3rd and
July 2nd.
July 2nd, 2024. October 3rd, 2023, and July 2nd, 2024.
I'd like to second that.
All right, all those in favor, say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to item number 4, presentations, beginning with the East Tampa Community Redevelopment Plan Update by Aaron Banks for Wegman and Banks Architects.
Good evening, Cedric McCray, Interim Director and East Tampa CRA Manager. Before Mr. Banks, oh, this is the mic? Yes. Before he gets started, many of you know, as we completed the process of the East Tampa Strategic Action Plan, and there were requests that we would go ahead and update the CRP, which is governed by related to the state of Florida. And so we've gone through a very extensive process. Those of you who have been in and around the CAC for a number of years to get to this point. I shared with you at last month's meeting that we had selected a vendor to provide that service, and Mr. Mr. Banks is here to just introduce himself, and is going to take a few moments to introduce members of his team that are going to be working on the build out of the plan. We've had some internal meetings here recently, and really looking forward to getting this process started and closed out in an expedient fashion. Wink, wink. So, but without further ado, we'll pass the microphone to Mr. Banks.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate you all having us here tonight. We're excited to work with you in East Tampa. My name's Aaron Banks. I'm with Wegman and Banks Architects. We've been contracted through the city of Tampa to update the East Tampa Community Redevelopment Plan. First of all, we can't say this enough, we want to acknowledge all the work that's happened so far. You've already been through this with the Strategic Action Plan. A lot of effort's gone into that from you all, from the community, the city. A lot of work has been done. We have that plan. We're researching that plan, and our goal is to build upon it. We're not reinventing it. Okay, we're building upon it, and we're gathering more analysis and input. And so that's our plan, is just to keep building upon it so that we can make proper recommendations for the future of East Tampa. My role is project lead with our team of professionals that I have with me here today. And you'll hear from Professor Trent Green, who has done many of these community redevelopment plans, and also Visitor Communications, who's heading up our community outreach. And they're also already involved in East Tampa on other efforts. So I think we've really got a great team of professionals here beside me to work with you in East Tampa. Our goal is to complete by spring of 2025. And we're just kicking off right now. So we're coming to you right at the very beginning to involve the CAC. We're involving the community. This is going to be that kind of a process where we keep you in the loop continuously. Our next major engagement is planned for 60% progress. So we're not finishing it and then showing you what we did. We want that feedback. Okay, we want you to be a part of the process. Our plan is, we've got 5 focus areas, which include attainable housing, connectivity, economic development, quality of life, and community engagement. Again, we're just scratching the surface right now, but we look forward to continuing to work with you on this. I'm going to pass the mic. Who wants to go next? Mr. Green?
Thank you, Aaron. Good evening, everybody. I'm Trent Green. I'm a professor of architecture, urban and community design at USF. And as Aaron mentioned, I've been working on completing 2 other CRA plans currently. underway with B's assistance. Okay, I've been involved in East Tampa sort of off and on, probably now for almost three decades. I can't say that I recognize a lot of your faces because as people come and gone, and as I've been in and out of town working, let's say, I've sort of forgotten a lot of people in the community. But I was responsible for the first two retention pond renovations. And we did have under the previous CRA manager, Ed Johnson, let's say, worked with him, consulted with him on a lot of things during that time. He was here. But as Aaron said, we are working on the update for the plan, and our intention is to go a little bit further than the strategic action plan. When we had the initial interview downtown, before we got actually got the job, let's say, we mentioned that we want to try and structure the CRA plan in such a way that it helps to get things done. Okay, and that's one of the main priorities that we will have throughout this process. The five major priorities that Aaron mentioned, we're going to keep those in mind throughout this process also, because the board earlier this year identified those as CRA priorities for each CRA throughout the city. We will probably be coming to later CAC meetings to get your input, and I'm thinking probably, let's see, this is October, November, probably in January, because as we're doing our existing conditions assessment now, like I said, we're really trying to get down to really understand exactly what's actually happening or not happening in the community. So we'll come back to you with some of our findings at that point to get your input. Okay, but at this point we are still collecting a lot of data. We do have another member of the team who's not present this evening, John Talmadge, who is an economist. In fact, he's the economic development director down in Lee County, who's going to be working with us. John is responsible for the first drill down process that occurred back in early 2000s, years ago. It's an ancient document at this point, but he knows he's very familiar with East Tampa, and he also conducts our that is USF's community real estate development program as well. So he's very familiar with East Tampa, even though he's, like I say, down a bit further south. So we think we have a well-rounded team to address a number of issues related to updating the document, and we look forward to as Cedric mentioned, getting this process underway and coming back to you for your input. Okay, with that, I'll hand it over to. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Well, good evening. Thank you again for letting us speak tonight. My name is Jessica Vega Urgen. I'm an account executive at Vistra Communications, and this is my colleague.
Andre Perks. I'm communication specialist with Vistra.
We're a full service PR firm, and we're excited to be a part of this project. Our role on this project is community outreach, being able to gain insight, make sure we're plugging into the community. And we would be doing this with coordinating community of the, meetings, surveys, stakeholder interviews, because again, we want to actually get your feedback. So a lot of that feedback will come from you yourselves. Again, we've done some of this work previously, but right now we're coordinating and planning. We plan to see some meetings on the books probably in a few months. So the next quarter, am I correct? I'm going to have Andre kind of dive in a little bit more and what you will expect to see.
Thanks, Jessica. So, as Jessica said, we definitely want to hear from you guys. We will be conducting some interviews. So the whole month of October, we'll be kind of doing our planning process. November, we will start those in-person interviews with the stakeholders. Also, we'll be planning a larger community meeting as well, probably latter part of November, maybe before the holidays, could be early part of December as well. So we'll have one of those here in East Tampa as well, to get, greater feedback from the community as a whole. We'll be making sure we're doing our due diligence with connecting with the community as well. So there will be opportunities for everyone to give their thoughts, feedbacks through this phase of the project, not just at the community meeting and then individual interviews as well. So we look forward to getting started and learning more about your thoughts and suggestions on the future of the CRA as well. Thank you.
I will say that we are currently making some updates. And so pretty soon, within a month, you should see some updates on a website. There'll be some flyers and information. So we do want to get ahead of promoting what's to come. So the community is involved. They're prepared to be able to ask questions and be able to attend the meetings. Thank you.
So I know at this time, and you can invite Mr. Banks back up, members of the CAC, if you all have any questions specific or related to the path forward, or I know that they've kind of articulated a lot of, but if anyone has a specific question, please feel free to ask.
Yes.
Good afternoon. Good evening. Thank you all very much for your presentation. We're excited and we're ready to work closely with you. I had questions for Miss Jessica. What's your last name?
Vega or Jen?
Okay. And Mr. Perks, you guys are responsible for community outreach.
Correct.
Okay, that's all of us at this table plus all of the community members that we bring to the meetings and that we share information with. You mentioned that you'll be putting your planning on the website. Which website are you referring to so we can read your updates? What's the website are we talking about?
So there will be a landing page that we'll be creating where there will be an update to what's already been done. We'll be able to share that information. I don't have the exact URL on hand, but we'll make sure to get it to you.
Okay, so Manager McCray, you will be sharing that with us, correct? As soon as, okay, wonderful, because we have a lot of input for the two of you. So
Yes.
we hoping you're ready.
And we're open to that and we're receiving, we expect that and we welcome it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was wondering, I got it. Yeah, so as far as, so I know one concern that we have with East Tampa is there is like a decent elderly population. So if you can you describe like how exactly you do your outreach to meet them? Are you gonna planning on doing mailings, sign postings, and things that aren't necessarily all online to engage with them?
Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, we take a hyper-local approach. So the goal is understanding the community, and we do know it varies with different demographic ages. So we're going to have some signage. We will have information on the website. We will be connecting in, certain community centers or places where they can also be sharing the information. So we will be partnering with some champions who can kind of get the information out there and in front of them.
Hello. What was the name of your PR firm again?
Vistra Communications.
VISTRA?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Some of you may know Brian Butler.
Okay, very good. And I was curious, you mentioned the October meetings with the stakeholders. Who would that be exactly?
Oh, I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
Oh, the stakeholders.
Well, that will include you. That will include certain organizations, businesses, clergymen, certain groups who have a voice and want to advocate and provide feedback. So we're actually looking through some data and determining those stakeholders at this point. We might have some others that might be on the list that we might want to share.
I don't have the complete stakeholder list on hand. It has been defined, and Mr. McCray is comments.
So you all, as members of the East Tampa CAC, we have every single neighborhood association within the CRA funders, key business owners, and a list of clergy and churches that are in the train in East Tampa to solicit feedback and information from.
Okay, and also, you mentioned John Talmadge from the Lee County. So I'm just curious. I don't have any problem with reaching out to other counties, but I was just curious, as opposed to Hillsborough County or somebody more local to Tampa.
Well, the reason we brought John on is because of his familiarity with East Tampa in particular. Like I said, he has years of experience working with people in different capacities in East Tampa, and a lot of other city agencies as well. Like I said, he did a lot of the initial work before the actual CRA was established. Okay, so as an economist, he understands a lot of the economic conditions. He's able to get at a lot of data, which I still don't understand how he can access a lot of information. Okay, which really paints a really good picture of what's the strengths, economic strengths that are in the community, and a lot of our other aspects along those lines. Let's say. So yes. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Simpson?
Hi, thank you for your presentation. A question about the website, and it's probably for Mr. McCray. Can they link it to the CRA page with the City of Tampa?
Yes.
For access? Perfect. And then stakeholders, can we recommend stakeholders who we think should be there?
We can. A lot was a thought went into that as we were prepping for the process to select a vendor. So we compiled information from what was already available through the previous process that the CRA went through in 2020, 2021, and completed in 2022. And then we've reached out to neighborhoods, our neighborhoods department, Mr. McGregor, for community engagement. So that's how we kind of developed that list. And then that was provided to Mr. Banks.
But we can recommend because
Absolutely.
things change, right? I mean, in a couple of years, there could be a stakeholder that was overlooked because maybe they weren't considered one back in the day. So I just want to make sure that that opportunity is available to include stakeholders that we may think at this table should be at the table.
If you feel strongly enough that someone should be
Oh,
included,
don't you worry.
that information, make sure there's.
I appreciate that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any?
Just want to
Questions?
say thank you for your presentation. Thank you for coming and being present in the community. It seems that you're well aware, and I'm sure through further communication, we'll have our input, feedback, more questions will be discussed at that time. But just want to put heavy emphasis on the community engagement. That is, we have a lot of opportunity there. So that inclusion of the community is going to be big, but also just execution. East Tampa is looking for execution. So if I can emphasize anything, it will be those two. So we appreciate and looking forward to your partnership. Thank you for being here.
Any CAC members in person have any questions? Like online? From any CAC members? All right, seeing none. Thank you so much for your presentation. We
Thank
definitely
you.
appreciate it and look forward to future collaboration. All right, moving on to item B in the presentations is the East Tampa Environmental Detective Update. Detective Washington was not able to be here today, so in his place, Mr. McCray will be presenting.
No. So in his absence, I want to apologize for Detective Washington not being here. He contacted me this afternoon to let me know that he was working in East Tampa and could not be here. But when he was here a few months ago now, I think it was June, July timeframe, he mentioned that he was working on a couple of cases, and some of them probably would bear some fruit. You can go ahead and let it run. So he would have shown you this as a part of his report out. He will be here in November. But this is, as you know, we have a huge illegal dumping problem. I think he alluded to that. And, if you live, work, or play in East Tampa, you see evidence of this. So he had been working to track tires that were being dumped. And we have some areas that are consistently problematic along Taliaferro 275, west of Nebraska Avenue. And then there's some other places on the east side of the CRA, Grant Park, Highland Pines area that are prone for illegal dumping. At any rate, I just wanted to share this with you because this was his operation, and this was what he was kind of alluding to. He couldn't talk about it then, and this was, if I'm not mistaken, a business in East Tampa that was actually responsible for a lot of the dumping. So and he's been monitoring that very closely. So I asked him this evening, I said, if you can't be here, then can I show the video? And this was on the TPD's Facebook page. So this is where it's still on there. If you go look for it, it's probably been a few weeks now, because it wasn't too long after our last CAC meeting, right before. So I just want, and that's the amount of tires that were dumped in East Tampa. So just wanted to make sure that you all aware. So he is working and pulled together, and there may be something else you hear about here pretty soon. So with that being said, I'll pause for any questions.
This particular case, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Was this particular case tied? There was kind of an ongoing VM Ybor Heights recurring dumping issue, specifically of tires in alleys, not just on Taliaferro, but within neighborhoods and at vacant structures. Was this arrest tied to some of that chronic dumping that was repetitive over the last, honestly, probably 18 months?
So he probably would be able to answer that question in more detail. I just know that they are a source. I can't say that they specifically were dumping, but they were a source of issues in East Tampa and within the CRA. So, but he's been tracking several entities to try to pin down some folks, and so it's unfortunate, but I wanted to make sure that you all saw the footage this evening. You're welcome.
Thank you. September 18th.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. So I'm going to pivot. The manager report is next, but I want to give Ms. Parks an opportunity to just kind of introduce some folks to you all. Ms. Parks is no stranger to the East Tampa CRA, and her previous role as communications representative and coordinator for the East Tampa CRA. Go to the podium.
Oh, we're going to the podium. Okay. Good evening. B. Parks, CRA Community Development Coordinator, overseeing all of the CRA housing initiatives. And I have the grand pleasure of introducing my team that's on board to help all of the citizens carry out all of these acquisitions we're looking at, all of the projects, and working together to make sure that we help the residents of East Tampa. So go ahead. I'm going to start off with Rahel.
Okay. So my name is Rahel. I have experience working with communities, working at Catholic charities. I also worked in the previous past of Jewish Gulf Coast with housing, and my most recent is also working with Amazon. So I love people. I love working with people. I love getting things done, and I'm super excited to be working with you all.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Perkins. I have a little bit over 20 years of experience working in workforce development in Chicago, and then here in Tampa. I recently just ran a workforce program that dealt with ex-offenders, low-income adults, anybody that was looking to change their life to go into a field to be self-sufficient. I ran a truck driver training program here. Which in conjunction with Slide Middle School, we did a culinary arts program as well for low-income adults in that area. We also ran a warehouse training program at Feeding Tampa Bay as well. And also in Chicago, I ran a lot of ex-offender contracts and government contracts and funding sources in Chicago that dealt with a lot of areas of poverty that we were trying to get individuals that were coming out of incarceration into some type of job that they can actually be self-sufficient. So I just recently completed my master's in public administration, which I was been trying to do that for a long time, and I finally got it done September 16th, actually, when I first started here. I also am looking to go into a doctor program of management, so I can be more, a little bit more better for be here to make things happen in East Tampa. My job is really going to be, I'm going to be in the community. I am a person of making sure things happen. When I ran a workforce training program, I was literally in the community trying to find people, knocking on doors, giving out flyers, partnering with nonprofits in the whole 9 yards. So I'm a believer in making sure stuff happen. And I know you ladies and gentlemen were talking about the elderly in the community in East Tampa. Yeah, I'm coming to sit down with them. So there's nothing, I'm not worried about doing anything in East Tampa as far as like knocking on doors. So I'm here to help the team in the city of Tampa and the CRA and the CACs to make sure we get people's houses up, fixed, and looking nice. That's the thing. Thank you.
So I wanted to introduce the staff along with saying we're located here in Hannah. Monday through Friday, second floor with the housing department. As you know, we merged with housing and we have matched our strategies with theirs. But we also will be helping the community outside of D3. East Tampa office, D3, to just help the community over there. And then also it just makes it easier for the clients to come in and have that dialogue. We have this big, beautiful building, but sometimes it's hard getting a meeting space in here to speak with clients on a regular basis. So we're going to utilize that office as well. And of course, we have a third office, which is downtown, the regular CRA office, but we're mainly going to be in the community. You know where to find me, B Parks, you got my information, and then their information is also going to be on our website, but they are the face. So Rahel is like the first face that the clients have been talking with. We have got great remarks out of all of the individuals. She's so patient with everyone that has, issues filling out their paperwork and all that. So she's been patient. And then Michael will be dealing with more of the project management side as it relates to the contracts once we start this infield project and we start building on these lots and getting all that moving. So I just wanted to introduce them to you. Any questions? Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. What was your name?
Her name's Rahel, Rahel.
Oh, I'm sorry. Rachel?
Rahel. So Rahel, Rahel.
And as I explained to you, my neighborhood association, I have some members that really need assistance with the packet. So the process, do you want me to schedule appointments for them with you, or explain that one more time?
So you can reach out to Rahel. So she'll go to you, Miss Tate. But it's her first and last name. So it's go ahead and spell out your email.
It's really long though. Maybe I can write it down.
Yeah, so still go and write
Yeah,
it down.
I'll write it down.
It will be because her last name's long.
Yeah.
But reach out to her so then she can set the appointments to meet with the people.
Okay, so she's at tampagov.net.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the first dot last name at tampagov.net.
Perfect. I just need a last name.
Correct.
Yeah.
And she'll write that down.
Thank you. Thank you all for your
No
presentation.
problem. Thank you.
Yeah, this had a general question in regards to housing. So I know a lot of, I know it's pretty much well known as far as housing costs shouldn't exceed like 30% of your income. But I was wondering, as far as, when you're engaging in applications for folks with, going for attainable housing, is it also communicated to them that the housing cost within the housing cost should also be things like maintenance and, basically things to help them avoid being house poor, when they get in there?
Okay, so that's a great question. So the housing department and the CRA works with the local housing counseling agencies who prep for home ownership. So if we're talking about home ownership, that's what they prep for. So they take classes, they do financial classes to kind of just decipher wants versus needs. So they have like an active, well-oiled machine. Like Cedric is going to go over the down payment assistance numbers shortly. And that's like one of our best programs because it just preps people. And then it just lets them know about emergency savings and prepping for those disasters, those maintenance. Along with the rehab side, once we rehab a home, we will be giving out a booklet to those individuals where they can upkeep the current maintenance that they need to do for their property, and also some additional resources where they could, making sure you change out your air filters, making sure that if you have gutters, washing them off, like simple maintenance techniques and tips that we could provide through a book that we're handing out to individuals once we rehab their home. Okay. So yeah, education is key, but we actually do great partnering with our nonprofits because, we just administer the money. So we push out the money through contracts with the nonprofits who are the individuals who prep the clients and educate the clients about financial literacy and other factors.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions? Yeah.
Hi, Toinette Gaines. I do have a question. When is there like a deadline for the applications, or is it just,
Okay, so that's gonna, like I just informed Ms. Tate, if the client already has an application, we're going to collect their application whenever they fill it out. We are encouraging them to fill it out quickly because it is first come, first serve. And it is in the order of the necessity. So we are looking at homes that need the most work first because those are code issues, code violations, or anything that has environmental issues or causing any health issues to that client. So those are the ones that we screen first, and then we take down, the regular roofs or maybe the fence replacement or the tree trimming and stuff like that. So we do take in consideration those factors when we look into the applications as well. So we're working hard. He'll give you the numbers soon. Any other question?
In person, any questions? Don't see any online. Any CAC members? Go once, going twice. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parks and team. Okay. Members of the East Tampa CAC, Cedric McCray, East Tampa CRA manager, and okay. Yeah, so we're just gonna go through the manager report. Okay. So as I shared this last month, we wanted to move it into October, but the firm of Fur Wegman Banks Architects, and you all had the pleasure of meeting the team that that will be working on a community redevelopment plan update. I know that I kept the slide in from last month. I know that we had quite a few folks that were not here physically or virtually, but there was a request for the meetings of the CACs to be uploaded to YouTube. That link is now active, and so within the week following the meeting, the meetings will be uploaded by someone on our staff to YouTube. East Tampa grants. Ms. Parks just mentioned down payment assistance. I think last month we were at 15 or 16 closings at 375, $100,000 that were expended, and now we're up to 70 closings at $775,000, and those are all homes that are benefiting from down payment assistance and funds from the East Tampa CRA TIF. And so that those monies are moving quickly, and all those houses that are being closed in East Tampa, we have residents that are coming in that are benefiting from those funds. And that was something that I will continue to update and inform you as it relates to the tree trimming. We had 117 applications that were in the queue when we paused last year. We have been cutting those. Thank you to Ms. Parks and her team for that. We have about 60 homeowners that have been contacted by the selected vendors, and to date we've expended $150,000. I think to finish the list of the 117, we probably had allocated about $290,000. So, and it's up to $2,500 per homeowner for the service. Any questions? All right. We will have some follow-up. We did have the engagement session last month as it relates to the properties on Palafox, and we have another parcel of interest, and we'll probably be bringing that back to you at the November 5th meeting, and we'll also have some follow-up discussion. But as I shared last month for the folks who were here, but I let the slide in because I know that we didn't have a quorum. We had the community engagement session during the August 2nd meeting, and that was a decision that you all made to forego the monthly meeting to conduct that community engagement session. And the survey was closed on August 22nd. So on the 5th, we'll have a follow-up discussion about the feedback that we received, and it'll probably be Mr. Johnson coming back before you, and Mr. Bryce Farringer on the CRA side, and Mr. Johnson works in the planning department. So any questions on that? Florida Redevelopment Association Conference will be here in Tampa October 22nd through the 25th. So I just wanted to make sure that you all were aware. Probably one of the highlights, I believe, will be the bus tours. There'll be a tour to Dunedin. There will be a streetcar tour, and then we also will be conducting a bus tour starting in West Tampa and then finishing in East Tampa. A couple of the sites that we'll be dropping by in East Tampa on the north end of 22nd will be the Skills Center, and we will swing by Memorial Park Cemetery, crossing my fingers that the fences at least started by then, and then we'll also be visiting J.C. Newman Cigar Factory in East Tampa. So mind you, the folks on the bus tour are coming from all over the state of Florida, redevelopment professionals, so we kind of want to give them snapshots of various CRAs but for that specific tour, it'll be West Tampa and East Tampa that will be showcased. Yes, ma'am.
Management McCray, please be sure to take them on a tour of the well. That specific site is where they came from. They came from 50th and about, what was that, Falkenberg? Is that Highway 60? They were down there in a little small room, the pharmacy, and they came before the board and asked for funding, and it was agreed, and now they're located on 40th Street. Tell that story. That was a nightclub where people were constantly being shot, stabbed, cut, you named it. this particular pharmacy renovated that building, and it is something to behold. You know, you were there for the make sure you take those bus tours there. That's a true story.
So we did have a lot of excessive deliberation. I'm going to see if we can swing the bus by and down 40th Street. So I'm already on that. Yes, on the way back downtown. Yes, we're going to try to do that. So yes, because we only have a certain amount of time, and we're on a very tight schedule.
That's a very beautiful. You saw it.
Yes, ma'am. I remember what it was 15, 20 years ago. So yes. But we'll try to work it, at least do a drive-by. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. And in conclusion, the next CRA board meeting, October 10th, and we will have some applications that will be going forward to the CRA board related to appointments. And our next East Tampa Community Advisory Committee meeting will be November 5th, and the CRA board for November will be November 14th. Any questions?
Can you also just discuss when the elections will be for the new chair and vice chair?
So the applicants that are being going forward before the CRA board, that'll be at the October 10th meeting, and then at the November 5th meeting, maybe December. We'll see, and I'll have some discussions. But we'll be, then you all will determine who will be the chair and vice chair moving forward.
I need the mic. I know I missed a meeting. Do we have a number on how many have applied?
Currently, we received 5 applications.
Okay.
Some of the neighborhoods associations that I reached out to in the summer were non-responsive, but we do have 4 applications for the CRA board to consider.
And how many are going to be put on the panel? How many seats do we need to fill?
Technically, I believe it's 5.
So technically they'll all probably.
And then we're actually, and this is going something that I'm finding out across the other CRAs. I know Ebor has a couple of vacancies. One will be going forward next week, and then we're going to be advertising, doing some advertisement. So I've had conversations with our communication staff about advertising to solicit applications. So if you have folks that in your neighborhood.
I thought you couldn't do that. Didn't council say you can't do that with you're not going to use CRA funding, right?
No.
Because I remember there was discussion and you can't do the communications. That's not what it was intended for.
That was more so physicians.
Okay.
Yes, I know what you're referring to. No,
okay.
No, this is something that'll email blast. It'll be in some periodicals, just letting folks know that, we have spots available. Any other questions? Mr. Costa?
So I use this go. I'm sorry. Oh, it's not on. So I know more things will, materialize after the meeting and then onboarding, because a lot of us are new. So just want to make sure that we kind of revisit that, and then maybe would it be possible? And this doesn't necessarily have to be a motion or anything of that sort, but we'll have new people on board, old business, new business. Are we going to at any point, at least as an advisory board, have a conversation where it's, hey, come up with a priority list, like this is our key focuses as a group. This is what we need to focus on, so that we could just be efficient, with meetings and that whole transition phase.
Yes. Part of it is what's in your packet is the programs piece with Ms. Martinez and her team.
Okay.
So we're working.
Which we appreciate.
Yes. So we're working through that list. If there's something specific that you all would like to see, or if there's an initiative or something to that effect, then please, just bring it up at the appropriate time during the meetings. All right. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to new business. Any new business? Anybody
Yes,
want to add
I
to
have new
future
business.
agendas? All right, Ms. Henderson.
I'd like to make a motion that we make the agenda available online per public comment, similar to what we do with what they do with the City council agenda, I do agree with public comment that it needs to be made available prior to our meeting. That makes sense to me because I know I do council a lot and the first thing I do on Monday is grab that agenda. So I don't know if that's you, but I want to make the motion for us to make sure, Cedric, are you listening? I want that to be available to the public just as the agendas for city council are available to the public.
I second the motion.
Okay, motion is to have the agenda for the CAC meetings be available on the website. Was approximate days before? Just before meetings?
7 days standard, but usually it's a couple of days, 3 days before, Monday to Thursday is what it is. The council meets on Thursday, the agenda goes out on Monday, is how it works now. The city council. I would say that Friday. So since we meet on Tuesday, what is that, 4 days? Would you say Thursday? Wednesday? I don't know. Wednesday? I like Wednesday. So we want to amend my motions?
Yeah, you can amend your motion. Yeah.
Wednesday.
No, well, you said you were gonna amend the motion.
I didn't know if she had input on what day she thought would.
Okay, so discussion.
In the past, we were sending out agendas 7 days prior to our meeting, correct? Manager McCray, it was 7 days prior to, and it went out to the public, the agenda, so.
No,
It was not, who is it?
Dawn.
Who is it? Wasn't it 7 day, Manager McCray, correct me if I am wrong.
Well,
Andrea?
What's it?
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, I'll amend the motion to add 7.
okay,
Okay,
go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that the agenda for the East Tampa CAC is posted 7 days prior to our meeting date.
I do have a second. All right, Ms. Tate, second the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Online? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Discussion?
I definitely want us to address the issue so that the public, when they come, they can feel prepared, have an opportunity to do due diligence. I think that is critical. I just don't know that in the real world how 7 days is going to work because the amount of projects and different things that we have going on and time is of the essence. If that's going to be realistic, because when they come, they have that. And then if something changes, then does that look like we don't have transparency, which we've already said that that's an issue. So that would just be my only concern. I don't know what the standard is, so I'm not trying to go against. I'm just saying that if we're giving them the opportunity to prepare and do due diligence, and then they come in to the meeting on Tuesday, and now one said item that we're now going to be voting on, they didn't see, how does that make the public feel when we are trying to, get transparency across? So that would be my only thing. So I don't know the proper timeline. We can figure that out all together. I'm all for it. I just want it to make sense.
All right, so Ms. Ziegler was next.
Yeah, well spoken, Ebony. I agree with that. And I know we've been getting the agendas ourselves on Friday, usually Friday evening. So I think that's a good enough time frame. It's several days before the meeting. And I agree with the project and last minute changes, last minute speakers, last minute, et cetera.
I completely agree. I think Friday is probably the most realistic to ask for the agenda plus all the backup. I think exactly what Ebony stated. But we're going to end up with issues if we're doing it a week in advance. You're going to have things that change, and then somebody's prepared to speak about something now changed in the packet, and that's also not a great thing for public engagement.
I'm sorry, Ms. Gaines, did you have? No? Okay. All right.
Okay, now that you all have thoroughly explained it, I understand a little bit better. I'm clearer. Thank you.
Okay, so then you're proposing about 3 business days before.
Okay. Well, so I think I'm going to go back to what I originally asked for, which let's follow suit with what city council does. They post an agenda on Monday for a meeting on Thursday. So technically you're getting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which is, what is that, 72 hours, 24 times 3?
Yeah.
3 days, I think is fair if we follow suit. I don't know if there is anything in writing, but we may want to look into that to make sure that we are following policies and procedures, Mr. McCray, if we could. But if there's not anything in place in terms of policies and procedures, then I think I'll go back to my original motion. Let's see if we can post that agenda online, following suit with city council, and 3 full days is when it will be posted, is the motion. Yes, sir. Did I do it wrong again?
Well, I'm just wondering, since our meetings are on Tuesday, if you do 3 full days, and that'll be
Oh, I'm
posted on
sorry.
Saturday. So that's why it's suggesting
So it would
3
be
business
Friday,
days. Yeah,
right?
and that would be then Friday. Well, yeah, it's Friday. I guess it's 3 business days. Yeah, because Friday, and then Monday.
You get
Tuesday.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? No, it would have to be
Yeah, 3 business days. So that's Friday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah.
Okay. 3
That's
business days.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try this one more time.
Have at it.
I make a motion to have the agenda posted online 3 business days prior to the meeting with the ETCAC.
All right. Any discussion on the revised motion? All right. See none. All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed, say nay. All right. Motion carried. Thank you.
Just mincing just on a day. Disagree with them.
Is there any other new business?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Igwe?
Thank you. I'd like to, in light of the hurricane, which was still 100 miles away from us, but caused a lot of devastation to Tampa Bay. I think we have to always keep in mind with our projects and our priorities, our number one thing we have to always keep in mind is sustainability and resiliency. That's like the groundwork of everything. If we don't have a place to live, we have no place to live. And number 2 would be public safety. So public safety is like the next level on the pyramid. If you don't feel safe leaving your home to go out and do your day, your business, you don't have much of a community. And everything else comes after that. Economic development, entertainment, arts, everything else comes first. I mean, last, I should say. So first would always be sustainability and resiliency. Second would be public safety. And then everything else comes after that. And in light of that too, I'd also like to make a motion. This will be for next year's budget. I would like to have us look at spending some money to get the extension of the bicycle trail here in East Tampa. We have Greenways bike trail. We have an extension going on up around the university level right now up near Busch Gardens. I'd like to see that bike trail extended down here into East Tampa. In light of the hurricane, when roads are closed and cars can't travel anywhere, at least if you could have a bike trail, you could at least navigate to get to where you might need to go. So I'd like to make a motion that we look at that for fiscal year 25.
So what bike trails are, what road is that on? What bike trails that?
The one up by University, I think, is on 30th Street. I don't know. I don't have the exact map in my mind right now, but I did see the map at one point.
Yeah, it starts at 30th Street on Fowler Avenue. The cycle track that goes north up to there. Yeah.
I think that's the one. Yeah, it's a safe bike route. It has those bollards or those white. Basically, so you're not on the sidewalk.
Yeah,
you're on the edge of the road, but you're protected from the vehicles.
Just to that point, there are a couple of both a quick build and the more long-term dedicated cycle track project that have come up into East Tampa. Sorry. So
on Avenida Republica de Cuba, there is a protected that was a quick build project, and that would be nice to see more of that happening throughout East Tampa. There's also the Greenways cycle track, which is a protected bike trail that will eventually connect West Tampa with East Tampa, but has a great opportunity to be extended up to some of our other parks like Reagan Park. So just to tag on to what you're talking.
If I may.
Yeah, Mr. McCray.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Headland. My suggestion was going to be that we invite Mobility to attend a CAC meeting in the future to provide an update. I'm familiar with the quick build that's on Republic of Cuba right near Cascade Pool and Park. And there may be some further discussions about extensions in other areas that I'm not aware of, or we may not be aware of as a group. So I think if we could invite them, and then Ms. Kugler-Ziegler, you mentioned the FY25 budget. We've already approved that budget, and that was approved by City Council. So it would be FY26. But if we did that in FY26, that probably would give us enough time to have them come present, and then we can start having some dialogue and discussions about, how we're going to move forward with that.
So I'll amend my motion to say add look at money in the budget for fiscal year 26.
All right, that's the motion. Do we have a second?
And neither am I. And I'm just wondering, is that what other CRAs are budgeting in their expenditures, paying for bike trails, or is that something the city is obligated to?
So I'd actually like to add to that a little bit too, because on top of what Mr. McCray was discussing as far as inviting Tampa Mobility here, Florida Department of Transportation, because East Tampa is unique in having 4 state roads, arterial state roads actually run through the neighborhoods. That's Nebraska Avenue, 40th Street, Hillsborough Avenue, and then Martin Luther King. And they actually conducted some engagement to improve bike ped facilities along those corridors. And they have actual future plans to do that. You can't do it on all of them because it's limited right away, but some of them you can do it. So my advice would be to definitely engage with the public entities first, because number one, they own the roads, and they should have a plan kind of in place. And then I'd say as a last resort, then seek to expend CRA funds. But I'd say first engage with them, because they actually do have there's actually a countywide master bike plan, and also just kind of hear it from the horse's mouth. So I can no secret, I work for DOT, so I can engage with our folks, and then I'll work with Mr. McCray as far as scheduling time when I think both agencies can be here. That'll kind of be best. It wouldn't be my suggestion to recommend budgetary changes right now, but first kind of hear what they're working on, get a timeline, and then as a last resort, then use our funds. Is my thoughts on it.
Maybe the motion should be the invite for mobility, and then that way we can get data, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, and I thought, so City of Tampa, and then
because there are people county roads like
that's a good one. Yeah.
And we get all the information we need. So, yeah.
Just want to the 4 main roads were Hillsborough Avenue, 40th, MLK, and
Nebraska, the state roads, state-owned roads.
State-owned roads. Okay.
It's not including the interstate, but that's technically the borders.
Okay, so based on that information, which I wasn't aware of, let's I'll make a motion to invite Mobility and FDOT to both to the county, all 3 to our future meeting, so we can discuss what they have in store.
All right, any discussion on the motion? Further discussion? No. All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. All right, motion's carried. Other new business?
Suggestion.
Ms. Henderson?
I don't know if it should be a motion. I don't like this setup because I can't see anybody. I just don't. I mean, the way that we had it before, it was more round, like the round table.
Back to the round table.
Right? Because I'm just saying, can we look at that, please? Because it's frustrating.
I don't think we need a motion.
I'm somebody that reads faces. That's what I do, is I can read faces. And so I would really like to be able to see my colleagues. And I don't like the setup. So I make a motion that we change the setup so we can all see each other. I'm serious.
Manager McCray, he's the one moving these tables and doing his little furniture decorating.
Do I need to make a motion to get it done?
And the purpose of leaving because we setting up the room earlier. I hear you.
Thank you.
Yes, I hear you. I knew we only were confirmation were 8, so that's why.
Okay, so you made it smaller.
Yes.
I got it. Look at
Point taken.
Please,
Yes,
thank you,
sir.
I appreciate
Go ahead.
I just have one request. And on the infrastructure and capital projects list, I know there are items listed on here that don't have budget dollars associated with them. Could we have this list amended to also include property that the East Tampa CRA owns, but doesn't necessarily have a project for? Because kind of keeping track of those things, sometimes those are the things that communities care most about, is like, hey, this property was purchased over here, but it's not on the list. There's no plan for it. What are we doing? It really, I feel like for tracking purposes, we really need to remember what we have and what could potentially be in the mix.
So it's not going to be on that spreadsheet, but we're working on listing it as our strategic acquisitions that we'll provide to you guys on a monthly basis. That's only active projects on there.
Thank you.
Any other new business? All right, seeing none. So announcements. The next CRA. Oh, let's see. Do you have an announcement? Oh, okay. All right. Well, let me just go through the ones on if it's not, it's announcement or new business.
It's in the announcements.
Okay.
Roman numeral 7.
Okay, I just wanted to just go through the ones listed real quick.
Oh, sure.
Just so right now. All right, so the next CRA board meeting is October 10th, 9 a.m. at City Hall. And the next East Tampa CAC meeting is November 5th at 6 p.m. right here where we are, City Center at Hannah Avenue. I'm just take for other announcements.
Okay, I share with as many of you as I had your phone numbers and email addresses. Congresswoman Kathy Castor sent out in a text. She states that residents living in Hillsborough County are not eligible to apply for individual assistance from FEMA if you sustain damage from Hurricane Helene. Visit disasterassistance.gov to apply for that assistance. So that's disasterassistance.gov. All of it one word. And I'll be happy to share this with you if you just give me your phone number. Please share this with all of you neighborhood association leaders in here. Please share this because there was some of the community that did suffer some damage right here in the city limits, as well as, outlying areas. But that's for all residents of Hillsborough County. So please make sure you share that with everybody so everybody can get the assistance that they need. And then I had one more announcement that I tried to share with everybody. The Jackson Heights Neighborhood Association nominated me as a community person to serve at Potter Elementary. We sort of adopted that school, and they sent a flyer out asking for the community at whole to please attend a town hall meeting. It's Wednesday, October the 9th, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the school, and it's located 3224 East Cayuga, 33610. Please come out and give your input. I thought it was interesting that they they're discussing their school goals, student behavior, and the importance of parent civility. So all of us, if we can't stay for the whole meeting, just come and pop your head in and see what they're talking about and offer some support. That's one of our community schools. And what I do up there is I assist with second and third graders that are deficient in their reading skills. I have the reading coach right there with me. She's training me on how to help these kids, because it breaks my heart to know that that's the grade level that's considered the school, the prison pipeline grades. So by the time they get the 5th grade, if they are not reading effectively, there you go. That's that group. So I jump head first into that because I don't want our babies to end up in a bad situation. And I'm trying to help Jackson Heights Neighborhood Association. We're trying to help as many of those kids as possible. And they're good kids and they want to learn to read. They want to know, they absorb their stuff. They're very obedient. My classes are anywhere from 6 to maybe 7 students in the media center. And I'm training them on materials that it's not sinking in the classroom. So that's what I'm helping with. And if we could all just come and listen to them at this meeting and see what exactly is the support that they need in this town hall meeting, I would greatly appreciate it. I think I sent it to as many of you as I could.
Cedric gets that because he's good.
I sent it to him. Manager McCray, you got it, correct?
Sure, because he'll send it out.
I sent it today. Okay, he hasn't seen it yet. I did tell him, please send this out so the entire area can show their support. And that's all I have. Thank you.
I do have one more thing. Sorry.
So when I went to put the November 5th date into my calendar, I'm not sure, maybe you all are aware, but I didn't click for me that it's the election day.
Oh, yeah.
And you all are comfortable with meeting on that day? It's going to be a history-making day.
Not that I'm aware of, and we have the room reserved on the 5th. So this is not out of the physical notice that I'm aware of.
Okay,
We have confirmed the room for the 5th.
6 p.m. Okay, Management
And
Parade. I'll let
what,
you know.
polls
I
close
will
at
be
7?
available.
Because polls close at 7 o'clock, right? I think so. Is there any way that we can move it a week?
So we can handle it one or two ways. And the more I'm hearing it, I understand the concern. What I will do is send out a survey email with a few dates. If we move it back a week, I will have a conflict because of other commitments related to another CRA.
And then we get past the board meeting, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
What if we?
maybe we shifted to instead of the 5th, maybe the 6th, but I'll send out some dates and times and then you all just can respond to me, please. and then we can make the adjustment. And I'll try. If the space is not available, then we may have to go. Yes, we may have to find an alternative location, but I'll send an email out to and have conversations with the folks here to see if it's available on the 6th.
Not Reagan Park. That's a voting precinct.
No, on the 6th, not on the 5th.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other? Oh, thanks. Any other announcements? Seeing none. Thank you all for attending. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:30 p.m. Let's wait a second.
Second, I second that meeting adjourned.
All right, in favor? All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Good job. All right.